Hi, I'm Dan Cortopassi. Welcome to my train room. As I said last month, I really appreciate everybody who's taken the time to find me and subscribe and watch. I really appreciate it. This month, I want to talk about reviews. I put out a couple of product reviews already, and I just wanted to explain a little bit about the format I'm using and how I'm scoring things. So all the reviews are based on a 100-point scale. And within that, I've broken things down into several categories that are each given a certain amount of points. The first category is packaging, and I'm allocating 10 points to this one. And if you look behind me, there's a bunch of boxes, and all of those boxes are full of smaller boxes like these, which have trains in them. And these have been moved many times, and I rarely get anything damaged. And that's because most of the boxes are pretty good. So I'm going to be grading the boxes on how well they protect the equipment for storage and transport. The next category is prototype accuracy, and this one's worth 20 points. I'll be doing research to try to determine how well the model matches the real thing. I'll be looking at the paint job as well as details. Now, if I can't find anything on the prototype, I'll give the model the benefit of the doubt because I'm not going to make a call with bad information. But if I do find something wrong, I'll tell you and deduct points accordingly. Next is paint and detail. This is also worth 20 points. In this category, I'll be talking about the quality of the finish and the quality of the detail parts, whether or not they're freestanding or molded on, and what details are applied to the model. Last is standards in operation, and this one is really important, so I gave it 50 points. And the reason for that is because if it's a rolling model and it doesn't work, then it really doesn't do its job. So in this category, I'll be evaluating coupler height, wheel gauge, whether or not the model wobbles, and how free rolling it is, and if it's a locomotive, how well it runs, and other things like if it has lighting, that kind of stuff. Anything that has to do with how it works. I'm putting some limits on deductions in certain categories, for example, coupler height. If the coupler is high or low on one end of the model, I'm going to take 5 points. If it's the wrong height on both ends, I'm going to take 10 points. And if it's a set of models where there's 2 or more pieces of rolling stock and 3 couplers are bad, I'll take 15 points. But I'll cap it there because I don't want to fail an entire set of models just on coupler height. At the end of the review, I'm going to add up all the deductions and get a final score. And that score will determine the model's letter grade. And that's just going to be like it is in school, where 90 to 100 is an A, 80 to 89 is a B, etc. I'm also going to assign a signal score. And basically any model that gets over 80 is going to get a green signal, meaning that I think it's a good product and I would recommend buying it. Any model that gets between 60 and 79 points is going to get a yellow signal, meaning that I think you should use some discretion on whether or not you really want this thing before you put your money down. And anything less than 60 points is going to get a red signal, meaning that I don't recommend buying it. When I do reviews on other types of models like bridges or structures, I'll adjust the point allocations accordingly. After all, it wouldn't make sense to evaluate a bridge on coupler height. I have a lot planned for the future, including N-scale reviews. I haven't forgotten the N-scale people. I'm also going to be doing a model building series, which I'm pretty excited about. And another part of my plans is this building. As I mentioned last time, I now have a space for a layout, but I realized a couple of things. I need to have a track plan, which is something I really hadn't worked on much. And I have to figure out how to best fit the track into the room. Also, I have to figure out what I'm trying to model. I've been modeling equipment for a lot of years, basically the 1990s and Southern Pacific and Santa Fe, but I have to figure out what my layout's going to be about. Is it going to be a real place like Donner Pass or Tehachapi, or is it going to be a fictitious place that I make up or whatever? Not quite sure about that yet, but as it develops, I'll let you know. Before I can actually build anything in here, though, I have to do a little bit of work on this room because it doesn't have any heat or air conditioning right now, and I want to be able to work on the layout year-round. Whatever I end up building, I'm really excited to finally be able to use all of this equipment that I've been buying for so many years. Another thing I'm going to try to do in here, because I have enough room, is to try to work in an N-scale layout somehow. Maybe under the HO scale layout, or I'm not sure yet. But anyway, that's one of the things I'd like to do because I have quite a bit of N-scale equipment too. And since I have a lot of garden scale equipment and I have some room outside, I'm also going to build a garden layout. Now, of course, this isn't all going to happen all at once, but I'm pretty excited for the future. I think it's going to be really cool. As some of you may know, I'm also an artist, and I recently went to a science fiction and fantasy convention up in Pasco, Washington called RadCon, and my fiance Nicole helped me do a little clip on that. So let's take a look. This is my art panel at RadCon. This is pretty typical of how a sci-fi fantasy con art show is set up. Usually a pegboard panel, and they give you hooks and clips, and you hang your art and put the little bid sheets on there. And then it's a silent auction, and people can come into the art show and write bids down if they want to buy something. So most art shows have a certain amount of bids that they'll take as written bids, and if it goes over that, they'll send the piece to a voice auction at the end of the convention. Also, if there's no bids on a piece, people can do a quick sale, which is kind of like buy it now on eBay, where you just go pay for it and it's yours, and then no one else can bid on it. So a lot of my art is kind of humorous. Like this piece here is a fictitious story cover for, it's called Burmese Bedlam, and it's about these Burmese cats who are getting into trouble. In this case, in this particular scene, they're trying to steal fish, and two of them have succeeded, and one of them is dumping the basket of fish onto himself. And it's set in Burma. This is a piece in a series that I've been doing called Death Kittens. This is Death Kittens 4, a fake horror movie about little kittens that I guess go around and cause death. In this case, it's Death Kittens versus radioactive tiny time spiders, so they have some kind of little nemesis to fight. Once in a while, I do something a little more serious. This one's called Queen of Ravens. This is more straight-up fantasy art. That's it for this time. I've got a lot of exciting stuff coming up. I hope you'll stay tuned and subscribe to the channel. And thanks for watching.